Welcome back in. Nick Wright in for Colin on the Herd. We are joined now by three-time Super Bowl champion. You know, I think that first Super Bowl Stink won sometimes gets forgotten about. They won it with Washington. Then he won a couple with the Broncos. Oh, back when the Broncos could compete for things. Back when they always beat my Chiefs. And now how the tables have turned. So let's start right there, Stink. The Broncos just fired their head coach. That should fix everything, right? Be back to contention immediately. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously they've been, it's just been an embarrassment. The Christmas Day game was an embarrassment. But you're going to have to figure out Russell Wilson, right? Like, one, you've acquiesced and you've made concessions to Russell Wilson's people, what you're going to do, what you're going to allow. So I think there's part of me that says you got to have somebody in here who's strong enough to say, you know, what Pete Carroll said all those years. And I think Pete Carroll, is a guy that took a lot of heat, basically had to just listen to all the garbage about, well, let Russ cook and you're not opening things up enough. And Pete Carroll knew what he had in Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson, you know, when he's on the move and scrambling around and throwing the deep ball, he has been exceptional. But I just don't think watching him all season long and watching all his plays that he can operate an offense. I just don't think he does a good job operating operating a system. So you're going to have to get a coach in here who understands exactly who Russell Wilson is and has the authority. And I don't think Nathaniel Hackett, I don't think it was ever fair. I don't think he ever had truly the authority to coach the player. I think the player had the majority of the authority. So, they're going to have to get somebody who's very strong-willed, strong-minded, and basically can say, this is what we're going to do. This is who you are. This is how I see you. And this is the way we're going to run our offense. And if you don't like it, this is not a dictatorship. It's a democracy. So I'm going to give you the chance. If you don't like it, you can sit down. And that's your choice. You can either sit your ass on the bench or you can play my style of football.
Stink.
And that's how we're going to win here.
Stink, just real quick, stay here for just one moment. Going into the year, I was one of the most skeptical people about Russ with the Broncos. And even I could never have imagined it was going to go like this. Like, I thought they were going to be disappointing in that they were going to win 8 or 9 games. I thought Russ was going to be slightly overpaid in that he was going to be, like the 12th best quarterback when they're paying him to be a top 5 quarterback. I'm not going to act like he'll be the worst quarterback in football. So my question to you is, how does that happen? Because last year with Seattle, he wasn't great, but he was fine. And the numbers are actually better than the film was. How does it all of a sudden get this bad for a player that didn't suffer some catastrophic injury?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I mean, having been here and having watched this debacle all season long, I think there's a couple of things that I look at, Nick, is I think one, I believe that Russell Wilson feels like I could become this elite pocket presence guy. And frankly, he just can't. He has not operated from the pocket. He has not thrown the ball efficiently from the pocket. He has not gotten it out of his hands. And I always thought that it was, he turns down the completion for, wants something better and wants to go over the top. But I truly think that he has a tough time operating the system. And he still has plenty of arm talent. So when he gets a individual route, like we always talk about, route combinations, you have a front side 3-man combination, and on the back you have an X individual route with your weak side wide receiver. So you're running X slant, X comeback, X go, X whatever. And if he's just sight throwing, right, you're like one-on-one with that dude, there's no question he can throw that football. But I just think when it comes to reading the defense and going from 1 to 2 to 3, I don't think that's something he's performed very well at. And I think part of that was in Seattle, they knew that and they operated that way. Yep. And think about this. 2 years ago, 2020 season, he threw 40 touchdowns versus 13 interceptions. And they let the offensive coordinator go after that year. Like, wait a minute, we just threw 40 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, and we've got to let our offensive coordinator go because that's not good enough?
Right. And that was when it was right after that season was when he was in the booth with Goodell at the Super Bowl and talking about, I want to be in these games. And then there was the Dan Patrick interview, and it was like, wait, Russell Wilson wants to be traded. The whole thing coming off what should have been a great year. All right, I want to talk Cowboys for a second here with you. Yeah. I was wildly impressed by Dak Prescott yesterday. He almost gave away the Texans game, pulled it out of the fire. Did give away the Jags game. And then to start yesterday's game with a pick six and to be down 10-0 basically immediately and to rally and to do that to that Philly defense, to me, if I'm a Cowboys player today, I'm like, oh, we can beat them in the playoffs if we face them even in Philadelphia. What was your takeaway on the Cowboys and Dak's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I've always been a Dak supporter. I've always thought that Dak was like this old soul but really good quarterback and really good at orchestrating an offense. And he proved that he could do that. Now, that's a Philadelphia defense who has two elite corners. They can rush the passer. They've got some players at all three levels of their defense. And this is a Dallas offense where we've always talked about, well, if they can't run the ball, that's a problem. And they averaged just about 3 yards per carry between Pollard and Elliott, and still, relied the entire day on Dak Prescott performing. And Dak Prescott did. I mean, there's no question. And even bouncing back, like I heard you talk about throwing the pick and then even bouncing back off of that. I thought he was elite in that game against a defense that I know all three levels, they've got great players, not good players, but great players. So, yeah, I think you got to come out of that feeling pretty good if you're the Dallas Cowboys or if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan.
All right, I think most people in the NFC look at the Niners and the Eagles as the two best teams with Dallas lurking. And then there's the 12-3 Vikings that no one believes in. You called that game. Once again, I don't know how they do it, and I've never seen anything like it. They've played 11 close games. They've won all 11 games. Calling that game, seeing them up close and personal, where are you at on the Vikings as potential contenders right now?
Yeah, well, I will tell you this, Nick. They're as talented as just about anybody. They've got the best wide receiver in football. They can run the ball. They've got a complementary. I mean, all three wide receivers between Thielen, between K.J. Osborne, and between, obviously, Justin Jefferson. They're as good as it gets. They've got an elite-level tight end in Hockenson. They're a really good football team. Defensively, they've got great players. They really do. Ultimately, though, they just can't find a way to put four quarters together. They can't find a way to just dominate a football game through four quarters. But I will tell you this. The one thing that blows me away about the Minnesota Vikings is in crunch time, both defensively and offensively, when they need to make a play, they find a way to make a play. And, it happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was special teams. What do we need? Block punt? Okay, we give you a block punt. There we go. Oh, hey, what do you need? A return? Okay, we'll give you a return. Oh, what do you need? It's 3rd down and 10 in the red zone, and we got to score a touchdown. We're going to double team our guy in Justin Jefferson. They're going there, right? They've got a cover 2 man, so you got man underneath and trail and a safety over the top, and they fit the ball right between the two, and he scores a touchdown. Oh, we need a 61-yard field goal. Okay, we can do that at the end of a game. Like when they have to make a play, they've been able to make a play more often than not.
All right, I got 2 quick ones for you. One is, you heard the beginning of the hour when I said I thought the Packers made a mistake by not letting Jordan Love have this last month of the season. You didn't explain it in full, but in the break you said you think I'm missing something on the Packers. What am I missing?
I think they've already made the decision. This is it for Rodgers. I think they've already made the decision that Jordan Love can play, and he's going to get an opportunity next year. My gut just tells me, and I don't know. Like, I have met with him. I did a Packers Chicago game, and I just felt like they feel really good about where Jordan Love is. That he has made a huge leap as far as the way he practices, the way he operates, his knowledge of the game, and I just feel like they've already made that decision that they're gonna find a way out of that contract. I think they've already got some clauses in that thing, and that Aaron Rodgers will be playing somewhere else next year.
All right, last one. I've never seen in my life watching football, but your life's a little bit longer than mine. You've been around the league a little bit longer. A dirty quarterback. But I think Mac Jones is crossing that Rubicon. What's your take on Mac having a mini highlight reel of dirty plays when he plays a position where it's almost impossible to have the opportunity to have dirty plays?
Yeah, the block on the interception return was behind the play was ridiculous. Now, here's the problem with the league. In my day, there'd be some frontier justice, and it had been committed by the next team that plays Mac. They're like, oh, really? That's how you're going to play this game? Go for the knees on an interception return? Yeah, we got something for you, Mac. And that would have been, just would have been standard operating procedure. And I miss that part of football, frankly, because I think that part of football is you need to have a little bit of that fear. And so, yeah, I think Mac would have been dealt with from the rest of the players in the league. Yeah.
For the next team they play, they don't want Mac knocked out of the game. Then they have to face Zappy. So they're like, no, we can't knock him out of the game. Like, we want you in there playing quarterback for the Patriots. All right, Stink, you're the best. You can hear and see, Mark, I should say, this weekend, Browns-Commanders, a game with real playoff implications, particularly for the Commanders, and it impacts the Packers and the Lions and everybody. Sunday, 1 o'clock on Fox. Happy holidays. Give my best to your wonderful family. Love you, Stink. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Love you too, brother, and you as well. Give my best to your family as well, man. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Of course.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.